Forbes magazine recently ranked Georgia the 11th best state for business. That's up 5 spots from when it was ranked 16th a year ago. Making sure the state's pro-business climate stays top priority is the work of an agency dedicated to promoting the best of everything Georgia has to offer. It's the institution business leaders across Georgia look to for help with restrictive legislation, unfair taxation, and capital needs. For 100 years, the Georgia Chamber has championed business across the state, no matter the size, to make sure all get a fair shake and no one is left behind. The Chamber checks the pulse of political issues and proactively develops sound business policy. Every year, it rolls out the red carpet for executives worldwide, providing first-class treatment and showing them why doing business in Georgia is one peach of a deal. Chris Clark is president and CEO of the Georgia Chamber. His path to this current position was a mix of both methodical planning and great fortune. It's the subject of today's Executive Profiles.
So let me start out with made in Georgia. You are made in Georgia. You're about as Georgia is Georgia.
I am, and someone the other day said, how many generations have you been here? I can't count. As far back as our genealogy goes, we've been here. And this is the only place I've ever lived and only place I ever want to live.
So let's talk about Fitzgerald, your hometown.
Sure.
It's a little different.
It was very unique. There was a newspaper editor from Indianapolis who, after the Civil War, came down and he had a vision, a place for Southerners and Northern retired military people to retire and live together. And it was really one of the first planned communities in Georgia. I could ride my bike to school and ride it downtown, and everyone knew who you were.
You grow up in Fitzgerald and it's time to move on.
Right.
Where do you go? What do you do?
I went to Georgia Southern University.
True blue.
True blue, go Eagles. Graduated, then worked for the school recruiting for a couple of years before I went to grad school at Georgia College and State University. When I did get to grad school, I went to grad school with the purpose of getting a master's degree in public administration with an emphasis in economic development, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I was very blessed that the good folks in Hawkinsville, Georgia, took a chance on me right out of grad school and said, sure, you can come run our economic development, our chamber, our downtown development authority. So at 27, I went in and started work there, and then was recruited by several other folks and chose to go to Fayette County to run their development authority. I knew that if I wanted to work projects and really understand the business, I needed to be in the Atlanta region. And Governor Perdue asked me if I'd come work for the Department of Economic Development as Deputy Commissioner. And so I did that, and pretty soon after that I was paired up with our good friend Craig Lasser, who came in as Commissioner. And so I got really the blessing to spend 3 years with a mentor working every single day, and worked on projects like the Aflac expansion and the Kia Motors relocation here, and just lots of great projects in the state. But I had a son. And traveling 3 weeks a month was not something that I wanted to do. And so Governor Perdue said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to run DNR, Department of Natural Resources. And he looked at me and goes, and tell me the connection there. And I said, well, first of all, I said, I'm an outdoors guy. I mean, you grew up in South Georgia, you hunt and fish, you want to go do that. And I did. I approached that as an economic development job. You know, if we protect the environment, if we're good conservationists, then that's going to attract, it helps with the quality of life. It brings people to the state of Georgia. And so that was a wonderful run, and I loved that dearly. And then Mike Garrett, who was CEO of Georgia Power at the time, and Suzanne Sitherwood, who was president of Atlanta Gas Light, Georgia at the time, recruited me over to the chamber. And so that's how I got here.
So you landed really in the job you kind of were destined for. I
really felt blessed when they approached me. I mean, it was hard to leave DNR, but I felt like I had done enough there to make a difference. And I thought, gosh, if I stay here, I'm going to keep focusing on this one area. But at the chamber, I can help the entire state. I can be involved in education and transportation and all the issues to make my state a better state.
Well, let's talk about the last 5 years.
Sure.
Let's talk about accomplishments at the Georgia Chamber.
Sure.
And what's next?
I started my job on Monday. Governor Deal was elected Tuesday. We met Thursday. And the governor asked us if we would work on what we called the competitiveness initiative. And we spent the first year on my job, which is a great way to start a job. I spent the first year traveling to every community. We had 13 town hall meetings, thousands of Georgia business leaders, local leaders to come to tell us, here's what we ought to do as a state to start job creation again and to get the economy going. And I think you've seen the benefit from that with companies like Caterpillar and Mercedes and these other companies coming here. It didn't just happen. It happened because there was a direct effort and a partnership between government and between business to go out there and make the changes and to get the work done.
It seems like Georgia has become cool again. That, you know, we're a place where companies are seriously looking that for a while there had kind of put us on the back burner. Do you feel that way, or is it just?
I do, and I'll tell you why, too, and I think it's critical for us as we look at policy issues and lots of other things that happen in the state. The companies that we talk to today, let's be honest, they can go anywhere in the world they want to go. What they want now is they want to be in a location where they can attract the best and the brightest and the talent. And so to have a place like Atlanta, to have a state like Georgia where you can be in the mountains, you can be on the coast, you can have a rural atmosphere if you want it, you can have the sports teams, all those things kind of add up to give us that it factor. And so a company like Mercedes or like Porsche that are investing in the state, they're investing where they think they can get the best talent.
Give us a sense of what it's like in economic development to try and communicate the personality of Georgia.
We always kind of said in economic development, if we just get them to the state, it kind of sells itself. And I'll tell you a great example. We had the chief legal officer for Mercedes, and we were so excited that they're coming to Georgia, and he told a great story that they had made the decision, or were making the decision to come, and that he brought his wife down to go tour some homes in the area. And everybody kept waving. And he kept thinking, what's wrong? Do I have something wrong with the car? You know, am I smoking, or I have the tire going down? And he asked the agent, he goes, what's wrong? And she goes, there's nothing wrong, these are your neighbors. And he said, well, they don't know that I'm their neighbor yet. I'm just looking. She goes, that's just how they are. They're just friendly people. So I think when you can people can experience that, they can see the pride that people take. You know, you're not always proud of where you live. But in Georgia, and whenever I'm in a small town, or where I grew up in Fitzgerald or in Hawkinsville or in Atlanta, people are proud that they're Georgians.
Well, the Georgia Chamber remains committed to keeping Georgia a right-to-work state. Union workers make up only 4% of the state's employment base. That's one of the lowest levels in the country. And according to the Tax Foundation's Locations Matter survey, Georgia's corporate tax climate ranks the third best in the nation. Next, Patrick Crosby takes a look at how repeated card swiping and benevolent check writing go to shape Georgia's economic profile. It's fiscal data delivered as only by the numbers can do. Don't go anywhere. Atlanta Business Chronicle's Biz will return.